What's up, Thrashers, and welcome back once again to the Thrash Maniac 99 YouTube channel. And first of all, I apologize for the sound of my voice. I'm actually going through a head cold right now, so if my voice starts kind of going away like it was just then, you understand why. But I had to come on here and do this review for you guys. Today was February 2nd, the day I'm recording this, and the first album I'm going to check out is Necrowretch with Swords of DAJJAL. I hope I said that right. If not, I'm sorry. This comes out on February 2nd on Season of Mist's Underground Activist subsidiary label, and this is a French blackened death / black metal band. I'll just go ahead and say it. I feel this is more black metal than it is death metal. Even though there's plenty of death metal moments on here, this is definitely way more of a black metal album. Now, this is my first time checking out this band. I had never heard of these guys before, but when I was going through, what's coming out in 2024, and I saw this, and I went to their page, and I saw, they were being compared to some damn good bands, so how about I check this out? Boy, I was surprised to hear how good this was. Starting off with Qasar al-Kafar. I hope I said that right. Some of these titles I'm not going to get right at all. But it starts off with these more like dissonant melodic riffs, and then into black metal. The tremolos, those cold tremolos and blast beats. And this kind of reminded me a lot of like Dissection, but even some bands like Sacramentum and Dawn, and even later Necrophobic kind of gave me a lot of those like Swedish melodic black / blackened death metal vibes. But then it gets into this nice little like double time rhythm with these tremolo riffs to kind of feel like a meeting ground between death metal rhythms and black metal tremolo guitars. I will say, across the board, these tremolo riffs, they know how to keep them interesting, and it doesn't feel static. It doesn't get stale at all. They're always able to change things up by adding in some different kinds of tremolos, and some of these are definitely more on the black metal side, but you still get plenty of, like, death metal tremolos. Like, I would say in tracks like Die Mori, I believe that's how you say it, I'm not sure, as well as Numidian Knowledge, and even Vi Victus. Those songs, and even the final track, Total Obliteration, have plenty of death metal tremolos that kind of scream bands like Nile and maybe even Morbid Angel. But there's even some occasional dissonance that kind of comes in here and there to kind of give it almost like a Mastodon feel, because the tuning of the guitars, as well as the melody behind the dissonance, definitely made me think of Mastodon whenever these little dissonant pockets of moments come up. But the fifth door, the second track, this one is also where you get plenty of death metal tremolos, and these were definitely a lot closer to Morbid Angel. And dare I say, even the rhythm section kind of reminds me of stuff that Pete Sandoval would do, which is definitely all-out aggressive, yet catchy at the same time. And then another big thing that happens across the board on this album is some elements of Middle Eastern music, whether it be by Nile or even another band like Melakesh, for example. You get these like really cool, tasteful Middle Eastern moments, like in the fifth door and Die Mori, and even at the end of the final track, it's just wonderfully tasty. Now, the title track, this one kind of goes into all sorts of different directions. Starts off with this big tremolo riff, but with like a nice driving rhythm, again, bringing back that like Necrophobic Dissection feel. But then you get some like awesome death metal triplet chugs. But then you even get like a little bit of doom. Like, there's even a couple of moments on the album where they get kind of doomy, like on the title track, Qasar al-Kafar. Let's see. Yeah, I actually think those were the only tracks where it got any kind of doom-laden, really, at all, when it came down to, like, slowing things down to a more doomy tempo. Now, Numidian Knowledge, this track, although the weird, like, almost throat singing or frog vocals at the beginning was kind of weird, but the drums, I gotta say the drum work on this album was absolutely fantastic. The blast beats, even when it gets gets into like double time moments or even thrashy. Like hell, the opening of Ve Victus kind of starts off a little bit more on the thrashy side of things, which was pretty nice. But I love the double time rhythms going on here with the riffs that are happening, almost bolt thrower-ish, but not really as, like, anthemic, if I could say that. But again, more death metal tremolos come up here. Now, Ve Victus, again, starts off a little bit more on the thrashy side, and the tremolos almost feel like at one point they go into black metal, and then they go into death metal, so it's almost like they're trading off the tremolo riffs here and there, which is pretty unique and pretty creative. But then you do get some more pronounced death metal riffs and blast beats that come in. Even a breakdown, which there's only a couple of times where I would say that there was a breakdown on this album. More blackened tremolos towards the end, and then another breakdown at the end. Now, the vocals, first of all, the vocalist has a great black metal scream, but his death metal vocals sound a lot closer to Martin Van Drunen. Like, they're that dry, which I can't quite do right now considering the situation I'm in. But yeah, I really like the death metal vocals on here because of that more Martin Van Drunen influence behind it. Now, Daiva, which is the shortest track of the album at a little over 2.5 minutes, and it's an instrumental, and it's a damn good one. It builds up nicely, it gets into nice clean melodies, but with the main guitar doing some cool tremolo melodies, triplet chugging rhythms, it leads perfectly into the final track, Total Obliteration, where again, more death metal tremolos, some dissonance comes up, and the nice build up into the breakdown with a nice groove, and it ends with that more Middle Eastern flair to it. So yeah, overall there's so much going on here. Like, I pick up moments from bands like Nile, Dissection, Necrophobic, Morbid Angel, maybe even like Sulphur Aeon and Melakesh, all over the map. The production is pretty solid with a really solid mix. Even the bass is audible for the most part. There's definitely a couple of moments where you could definitely hear the bass more pronounced, but in the performances, the musicianship of this album is just staggering. Now, as far as any negatives, I was really hard-pressed to find really any negatives whatsoever about this album, because I was just kind of like just feeling the evil being unleashed into my ear holes. So, overall, I'm kind of torn for the score, but just to be on the safe side, I'm going to give this another 4.5 out of 5. This is a fantastic album, and definitely this is a band I need to check out their older material, because this is awesome black metal / blackened death metal. It depends on really how you want to categorize it. I would say this album, again, I would say it's like 65% black metal, 35% death metal. So if you are a fan of Dissection, Necrophobic, Nile, Sulphur Aeon, Melakesh, Morbid Angel even, definitely check this out. But of course, those are just my opinions. What did you guys think of Swords of DAJJAL by Necrowretch? Let me know in the comments, and hopefully I'll sound better for the next review. But until next time, keep your horns high and your dreams wet.